Sadly, on the list of American street circuits, Belle Isle has slipped into the realm of tracks of the past. Used on and off between the 90s and the 2020s, it developed a reputation as a bone-rattling and unforgiving place. With the difficulty of the Lotus added, it'll be a perilous challenge today. Let's see who thrives as we get ready to watch round 11 of the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legends Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Sebastian Holmichael. Behind the scenes is our director, Daniel Costello, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Since IndyCar has moved on to the downtown circuit, let's refresh ourselves with our GSRC track guide. Welcome to the Belle Isle Street Circuit. Situated in a beautiful park on Belle Isle itself, it rests in the Detroit River, sandwiched between the Motor City and Canada. With it being in the far north of the Midwestern United States, as you'd expect, harsh winters make this a bone-jarringly bumpy track. It's most known for IndyCar's yearly visit, but has also seen IMSA hold rounds here lately. The 14 narrow corners only add up to a mere 2.3 miles in length, but it can tend to feel like a lot more just from the sheer stress of keeping your car out of the walls. Runoff is non-existent in the majority of corners, so mistakes tend to be punished with race-ending damage. The dangers include the tight and twisty fountain section with its rapid-fire set of bends, and the frightening turns 12 and 13, which end the lap with two swift kinks. However, the most notorious spot on the track is the exit of Turn 2, made famous by collecting the Corvette pace car into its hungry walls one year. The first two turns are a quick chicane, so the extreme change of direction, plus the rise in the track as it crosses over a creek, means grip and balance can disappear in an instant. While the setup of the car can sometimes help lessen the annoyance of the bumps a little, what this place all comes down to is driver skill and daring. Precision will pay off with the close proximity of the barriers. While it isn't a stroll in the park for drivers, fans get to enjoy the beauty of the scenery, all while watching some of the most thrilling racing an American street course has to offer. Well, as we saw, this place is a real canyon all throughout, Seb, so any little mistake is probably going to be costly.
Yes, it is a concrete hell, and as you said, the pavement is bone-rattling. Down the central avenue, of course, 14 turns awaits you here on this track, which are so tricky with high curbs, with close walls. It will be maybe even come to a big crash in the fountain section. Very tricky, very technical, and if you want to take all the pace on the Sunset Drive, you have to be very committed in the last two corners before the finish stretch. This will be a test of skill, a test of endurance, even if it's not so many laps, but the grid is packed, as I heard.
Yeah, we've got a lot of cars out there for such a tiny track, so that'll be interesting for sure. Now, in the championship, things have changed around a little bit because Nieva did not have a good race last time. And now Tolga Hesada is your leader with 2 races to go. Coach Kaki is getting a little bit too far behind. He needs something dramatic here to catch back up because as it sits, he's more than a full wind's worth behind, and we've got those drop rounds to help out on top of things. Seb Tixier as well. Probably not in it anymore. But how about Connor Tolman showing up this season and proving he is one to watch out for? Salgado with a pretty good one within the top 6 right now. And also Kevin Verbruggen showing great improvement since we've seen him show up now up into the F1 Championship and in the top 8 on top of things as well. We've also got a F2 standings here. Seb, how's that one looking?
Yeah, Kurt Clapper is leading, but it's just 4 points to Jonathan Jordan. So this will be a very, very crucial race for both of them. But always count on maybe the third guy in the row if the first 2 are crashing or whatever happens. Thomas Willershausen is just 55 points away. So maybe he can, with 2 races left, get closer and, higher the pressure on the first 2 guys. Jem Madsen in P4 also not far away, and Roberto Pangrazzi will try to close down the 6 points for 4th place. John van Dorn in P6, but now we are in a space of nearly 100 points down from the leader, with Alan Graham in P7. Jan Stefan in P8, and P9 goes to Tobias Hernvi at the moment. Thomas Tuba completes the top 10 with 132 points down.
Now in the Cup of Nations, because multiple drivers can contribute to this, as you can see, Japan has not moved ahead of Spain quite yet. So that battle is still up for grabs, and Spain could at least put that one over them, as that whereas Nieva hails from, Hisada from Japan. Tixier, usually the one that we see contributing to Singapore, but he's had a couple of drivers now start to help him out in that realm. The US and the UK almost seems like an eternal battle we see between them here in the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legends Series. Tend to be very close together in points, and only one separating them this time. So this could be decisive, today's race, for that fight. And speaking of today's race, Seb, one more time, why don't you take us down along the race details?
Yeah, it's the round 11 of 12. 2 races to go in the championship. 23 laps tonight. Open setup, so every driver has set up his car like he wants it for this race. No spare car. This means if you crash, you're done. If you die, you die. Drive-through penalty at 70 incident points, and disqualification at 25 incident points. So be careful, stay away from the walls and other drivers.
Yep, keep your equipment safe. Getting to the end going to be probably one of the most critical parts of this. Looks like we have about a minute left in qualifying. I'm checking to see if we have any drivers able to complete laps. Looks like Seb Tixier. Oh, nope, he actually just abandoned his lap right now. So that's it for him. And yeah, that is everybody. Qualifying has essentially wrapped, because that's Nieva that is just pulled into pit lane without taking his second lap through. And he didn't need that second lap because he is actually on the pole for this one. We'll go through the order, but there is kind of the unofficial rundown there on the left-hand side. Got to think before we get over to that grid here, Seb, that qualifying position could be so important at this track.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can crash out of the race without making any mistakes because there's a pileup in front of you. So if you have the clean air of the pole position and start in front, it's already a big gain.
Yeah, so watch out for those wrecks, especially in the early stages of the race where everybody is so close together. Last couple seconds tick down here on the clock for the qualifying session, and that brings us off to the now official grid for this race. And as I said, Jorge Nieva's on the pole. Leo Sequeiro will start next to him. Togo Hisada down in third. He's got some work to do from there. Seb Tixier starting from fourth. Kevin Verbruggen talked about praising his good performances. Well, he's up in fifth ahead of Nikola Kaki. And Arturas Koulis joins us once again. He'll start from seventh. It's Gary Ho in at P8 with Marco Salgado in the ninth spot. Then it's John Olsen rounding out your top 10, Seb.
And down from there in row 6 in P11, David Rossi, Jack David Spickett in P12, Xavier Sanchez in P13. P14 goes to Roberto Pangarazzi, Kurt Klepper in P15, Robert Plumley in P16, Connor Tolman in P17, and in the 18th place, Matthew Matzley. Tobias Hernvi in P19 and Sandeep Banerjee in P20 completes our 10 rows.
We've got Jim Matson starting in 21st, and it's Andre Bruder 22nd. Jonathan Jourdain starts 23rd today with Mats Linden in 24th. Last one to set a time. Guardia, Parrish, Clapper, Saunders, Tuba, and Villershausen will round out the field and be lined up according to iRating, since they were not able to complete a clean lap in the qualifying session. Fog is starting to clear up compared to a little early. You can see it is still hazy out here, but that is keeping track temperatures down at least. And the wind is up, which shouldn't affect these cars too much, thankfully. So we wait for the signal from the flag stand. Standing starts is the tradition here in this series. So everybody's going to be heading down into turn one without any separation like you might get on a rolling start. Looks like they're ready to go. The engines now start to rev as the lights are up. And the green flag is out. They head down into turns 1 and 2, and it is a pretty good start for Jorge Nieva as they weave through 1 and 2 out of Casino Way. Now comes the big tricky exit off of turn 2 with that crest over the bridge. Will everybody stay out of the wall? So far, so good, Seb. Now we head to turn 3.
And even one car came out of the pits, but hopefully that all went well. Like this is going into turn 3, now into turn 4. The walls are near. There's a little bit of a stretch of grass, but now we're in the concrete hell between turn 5 and 6.
I don't think we caught it on cameras, but Raul Guardia did have a little bit of an accident with Jonathan Jourdain down into turn 3, but only a 2-car incident. Whoa, big moment. I'm trying to figure if that was Banerjee that we were watching there. No, it's the car in front of him that unfortunately tripped up a little bit and thankfully kept it out of the wall. This is where I kind of earmarked down into turn 7, Seb, that is going to be a real trouble spot.
I mean, you put your money down here for the big crash, if I remember correctly, and it can happen. The cars will stay close together for the next couple of laps until they find their groove. And also with cars not making qualifying time, this could be a problem for them if they are faster than the cars in front.
So Husada managing to get up to second on this start. Nieva is still in the lead. Sequeiro lost 2 positions this first lap. He's down to 4th as they cross the line now. We're on board with Nicola Kaki, who is continuing to chase on for Bruggen. They've got a gap behind, so Nicola in his bright highlighter yellow helmet can focus forward, but he has a snap of oversteer on the exit.
Yeah, it's normal to have a snap there. So he is expecting that. Of course, it doesn't make you faster, but as you see, the suspension is working at this bumpy track. It can always happen if the concrete changes, that there's a problem for you and you have to react so fast to not end up in the wall. Oh, but there's a spinner in the back.
That's trying to figure out who that is. Connor Tolman, perhaps? Oh, and he's missing a wheel. So that's going to be day over for him, no doubt, as thankfully the wheel actually bounces behind the wall and he just pulls off to the side and is in nobody's way. Unfortunately, Jim Matson also in pit lane. Not sure if that was related. Those are the only 2 cars that have had to retire so far.
And that's a good quota, I would say. So
this track, yeah. Yeah, that's a very good start for a field of this size. Salgado now chasing here in 9th on Gary Ho, just ahead of him. Got an absolute train of cars starting to form at this stage. We got a replay. I think something also happened to Sandy Banerjee. We'll get to that in a little bit here. With Jonathan Jourdain coming up into the corner. Does he get plowed into? Because I think I saw Guardia have the big... Yeah. Oh, no. Oh. Jonathan really an innocent victim on that one. Could not have seen that coming.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. As I said, a crash without making any mistake, but this is another case.
We had another big ass. Oh, Gary Ho. And more cars, unfortunately, getting collected in it. Gary Ho is another one of our Singapore drivers. Looks like, oh no, David Rossi, who's been doing so good in the points lately, gets taken out, so he's now gone from this race. Well, the first lap, I guess, wasn't the danger. It looks like we're having more accidents afterwards, Seb.
Yeah, I think the people are very, very stressed in the first lap and very concentrated, and then feel like, okay, I have to make up positions, I have to fight. And then on the second lap, hell breaks loose.
Certainly has. We've now got at least 7 cars that have visited pit lane and are taking extensive repairs. For Guardia, he actually started, it was the one that started from pit lane that we saw coming out of there. And it's a bit unfortunate. I guess he was trying to avoid getting caught up in things and wound up anyways. As we watch Husada continue to chase on Nieva. Remember, championship implications. Nieva needs this win over Togo Husada if he wants to finally get that first championship he's been trying to for so many years. So John Olsen, this must be the accident we saw coming out of 2. Oh no, the 13 had already had a big wreck. Olsen was coming around blind and really just had no ability to avoid that accident.
Yeah, broken suspension, game over.
So that, I believe, also involved Rossi, Gary Ho. So at least those two involved. Didn't see who else was collected in that one. Wow, Hesada's getting close to Nieva, but a continual thorn in their side is Seb Tixier. These three have been the main protagonists all season long, giving space down at the apex. Nieva may be a bit too polite initially, but he's going to fight back now into the fountain section. That almost fends him off. They almost bang wheels as we ride on board with Seb Tixier. May have been slight netcode between them. Remember, we've got a driver racing from Spain and one from Japan.
Yeah, that's always also an issue in sim racing, of course. You have to always not only mind the gap, but think about a netcode.
Just give yourself a little wiggle room, but that's so hard to do when you're racing at this level, Sebastian, because, I mean, these guys are at 10/10 out here. They haven't pulled away, which actually surprises me a bit, but the top of this Lotus 49 field, I think, are some of the best on iRacing.
Yeah, of course. That's why we are here, why we are watching and enjoying this great competition here.
Deep into turn 3. I think Hesada is going to lose another position, or at least lose one position, as Tixier robs him of that P2. Now, can he do what Togo could not on Jorge Nieva? And here, you know, I had said that maybe Jorge was a little too polite going into the corner. He left that door open, and then he fought back fiercely, which has been kind of a trend, is Jorge is kind of known as being a bit of a survivalist and not try to risk his car too much. So that shocked me a bit.
Yeah, I mean, risking into the braking zone is one thing, but risk it here too wide around the fountain for 3 corners, that's another thing.
He pulled it off. He did have the inside, so that worked out well in his favor that time. What about Sequeiro? Now, we have seen him in the Grand Prix Legends plenty of times here, but not quite as common. So is he going to be also a bit of a wild card as we check back with now Jason Clapper as well, down around 13th. Jason, as he usually does, did not qualify, started from 27th. He has a gain of 14 positions with 2 more right in front of him. That's Plumley and Pangrazi that are going to try and hold him back, but that's difficult to do. This guy has a lot of experience overtaking cars from the back of the field.
Overtaking very difficult here, of course. Always the danger of ending up into the wall. And with these cars, we have seen it. The tires are now getting hotter and hotter, but in the opening stage, much snaps on the exit, of course.
Yeah, just trying to get them into the working temperature, wheel to wheel, leaving almost nothing between them. Clapper still comes out ahead despite the outside pass. Smooth move around Plumley. Now he immediately focuses forward on Pangrazi. He wastes no time. So there is a lot of speed on this number 15 car. There's a little slide from Roberto coming off of turn 6. Now they head down the strand and just outguns him.
And now we are coming into that crucial braking zone, but I think he gave him the space. Gave him the place, of course, also.
Clapper just, I mean, man, he is on another level today. Oh no, Jack David Spigot, have we lost him already? JDS coming down into turn 3. A little deep. He thought he could make it, and the car just could not. So he plows into the tires.
Yeah, a little bit of aero damage. I think he will try to finish that.
Yeah, these cars, especially at this track, I don't think very aero dependent. Maybe at a place like Monza that would hurt, but around here, I think they're okay. Back to Hesada. Go ahead.
They are still so close together that really wonders me because, yeah, as you said, the first 3 are so much quicker on other tracks, as I've seen in the last couple of weeks. And yeah, the train breaks up a little, but of course it helps Secchiero in P4 to defend himself from Verbruggen.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what's causing the gap, is him playing that defense, maybe costing him. But he's only back by maybe about a second, so I don't think he's lost too much. What's fascinating about this train is all the way down to 6, which is Nikola Kaki, is only 2.7 seconds. So yeah, it kind of almost feels like Nieva might be a little bit of a cork in the bottle. Thought I saw a car going down. I'm trying to figure out who it was, and I've lost track. So we'll see if we can figure out who that was in a little bit, but clearly something went wrong for somebody farther down in the field. Sada needs to now not only pass Nieva, but get by Tixier. How patient will he be? Because he's got a lot of race left here, and like you said, it's tough to pass here, Seb. So would it serve him better to hold back and wait for an opportunity, or does he need to get up on the wheel?
Yeah, well, for the championship leader, of course, it's always best to play it calm, because even with finishing one place behind, it doesn't hurt him too much.
So that's Linden. This is coming into turn 1. Also outbrakes himself, and yeah, he must have damaged the suspension pretty hard there. He tries to drive it away. He's back in pit lane, so yeah, he was unable to carry on, as he does have the black and orange flag.
There's no walking off a suspension damage.
At least one is as significant as that. I've seen people drive these cars after a pretty good lick before, but I don't think he got lucky that time. Back to Kevin Parrish. This is about the midfield. He's sitting in 15th in a crew of 4. That's Tobias Hernvey just in front, with Kurt Clapper second in line. Then it's Parrish, and then Jeff Saunders. I have to ask, because I know you're familiar with the umlaut, but I think Harnvey is Swedish? Yeah, Scandinavian club. Is it pronounced differently in Swedish, or is it like German?
I would say
not the person to ask.
It's a little bit different, I would say, but I'm not an expert.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I can never tell, so I figured I'd give a shot and see if you had any more knowledge than I did. But I'm the silly American, and it was only a cursory bit of German here. So as we come around through 13 and 14 on to Sunset, these are those dangerous corners you were mentioning, but so important because now they head down the front straight. This is one of the long-ish sort of flat-out sections.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a bend in there, but basically here's the braking zone. So if you catch up in the last 2 corners, you can make a pass happen or stay close enough to make it now in turn 3.
Kurt Clapper sizing things up. He's going to see if he can make a pass down into turn 3, but nothing doing there. So he'll stay behind Tobias at least for now. Still don't know the exact relation between Jason and Kurt, but they often will be racing at the same time in pretty much all of our vintage series we cover, both with the IMSA Vintage coming up later today, and then tomorrow I'll be joining you for the Classic Lotus series, the Sunday Grand Prix series, as we call it here on GSRC. Ooh, and there's either a look to the outside or a defense. Which is it going to be? That's going to be an attack down to the inside, slices up over the curb, and that is going to be Kurt up in position.
Hit a little bit of the inside curb, but too wide is working behind them, and there's some space now.
Harnvey might actually lose another spot here. Kevin Parrish looking a little threatening. Thinks about trying to make something happen. Just not enough there. Maybe if he sets himself up out of 13, he's going to accelerate as hard as he can. Brings it right up to the wall. Almost brushes his tires against it.
Yeah, but no new wheel alignment. But yeah, making the best out of it.
You're going to go fast. You got to open up that arc as wide as you can go. And he seems brave enough to do that. The Ohio driver is going to fall off a little bit on the exit of 2, unfortunately, not getting the throttle down as quickly as he needs. And the one thing we have to remember, because this car, you know, a lot of people have said, oh, it's slow because it doesn't feel like it corners as fast as modern Formula One cars. We have to remember, it's very light with, 400 plus horsepower, Sebastian. So that onboard really shows how quick it gets in such a short period of time.
Yeah, that's the factor. And yeah, if we want to compare it, yeah, there is no little helpers in here. So you're on your own in this car, no wings, no big arrow, and yeah, see what you can do on this bumpy track.
No computers to help you either. It's all analog. I mean, you can tweak things inside the car, such as I believe, I think you can tweak a little bit of the roll bar as well as the brake bias for sure. But it's, you set it up, you get out there and you try and do what you can. Watching Verbruggen here in fourth, who is still on top of Sequeiro, who has now lost touch with Tixier, actually significantly. Oh, what happened to Hisada, actually? Why is Hisada in seventh?
That's a good question.
So, let me see here. Maybe it was this lap, because none of the last few laps looked significantly slower. Yeah, here we go. Down into turn 3. Did he miss his brake marker? Yep. Now here, look at the intelligence there. Oh, and just stayed out of the tires. But yeah, how many drivers have we already seen try to make the corner and fail? And he knew to bail.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I mean, you see this kind of driving on TV from professional race car drivers. I can't remember if I ever have seen such a awareness and reaction to an incident here in sim racing in all, in 5 or 6 years.
And he left. In fact, he may have touched that tire barrier. He got so close to it. At least from this angle on our replay, it looked like he did. But he measured that out to perfection to keep that from becoming a worse accident. So we watch Robert Plumley now. This is Pongrazi in front of him. This is a battle for 11th. And they seem like they're kind of in no man's land. There's nobody in front of them for another 8 seconds. Kurt Clapper is 12 seconds behind. Unless they run into traffic, this is mano a mano.
Yeah, but that's also great. We have now halftime of the race, and now they are getting at it, one-on-one.
Unfortunately, don't have any special guests for our halftime, but we've got at least a little bit of a show here as they head through turn 4. This is a very tricky part of the circuit. You were talking about this curve on the inside of 5 and just how difficult it is.
Yeah, but everyone avoids it totally. I think there was one a little bit spinning as we watched the car which lost its tire, but that's it.
Yeah, it's thankfully seen, at least from what we've gotten replays of, a lot less action than we feared. There's a big show of the nose down into turn 7, but Plumley unable to get the overlap he needs to the apex. What about behind them? This is Saunders versus Tobias Harnvey. And Tobias, again, not going to fight it. So it looks like he's lost a couple positions as we've been watching him through this race. He seems to be more in just let's get to the finish kind of mode here. That means...
Yeah, but also with that, you have accomplished a great part of the race. You're not dead, you're driving, and you can get some points, finish the race, good for your position and racecraft. So why, be too risky there?
And that move for Saunders puts it up pretty high in terms of hard chargers. He's gained 13 spots, only undone by Jason Clapper starting from the back and is up 17 positions. So Jeff Saunders is going to have to step up his game if he's going to be racing against the Clappers. Kevin Verbruggen here up against Sequeiro, who gets a good run through the fountain section, pulls a few car lengths away from Kevin. But Nicola Kaki in behind them, just waiting patiently, looking to see whether or not he'll get an opening, if he can get a little closer to the gearbox of that bright blue machine.
But also, this battle is going for, basically all race long. And now is the time to make up the position, to maybe, maintain the points you can salvage here.
And this is for a podium, too. Sequeiro's in third right now. So this is pretty significant here. I know each of these drivers, I mean, there is no actual champagne, but they love those stats. And they're going to want to try and take that away from him. But nothing happening down into turn 3 this time as they stay in line. Hisada unable to make up any spots yet. Arturas Koundalis is in front of him. Now, Arturas is a fierce fighter, but we usually see him with fenders on. Most often have him over in the IMSA Vintage Series racing the Audis.
And here's the question, like, if you see Hisada in your mirror, how hard do you want to fight?
From what I know of Arturas, I don't think he's going to back down from this. I don't think he's just going to pull over. Now, granted, it'll be sensible. He's usually a very fair racer, but he's not going to roll over. But Togo Hisada is one of those, he's young, but he's not the sort of foolish young. He's got a very wise head on his shoulders, but he's also just, I mean, my goodness, I would not want to get it into a boxing ring with him if he ever takes that up, because I bet he would just throw hands without hesitation.
Oh, and I think this is for the lead.
Oh, yes, you're right. It's down to 0.2 of a second. Seb Tixier on Jorge Nieva. Jorge needs maximum points here for hopes of the championship. I'm not sure what the drop points look like, so hopefully we'll be able to tell after the race, because they usually update these relatively quickly here, and see where that leaves them in the final round. But Seb Tixier could make life a little bit more difficult for Jorge coming into the last race. Right now, it is looking a little bit better since Hisada fell back and lost yet more points. That helps out Nieva. But right now, he cannot afford to lose anything.
Yeah, he can't afford it, and Seb Tixier will, of course, want the win here at Belle Isle with 9 laps to go.
Coming down through the fountain section yet again. Pretty single file through here, especially continuing on down into 12 and 13. We sometimes see passes in 12, but it takes a real brave driver to do that. I don't think either of them are willing to try and do that yet. Hisada still stuck behind Koundalis. He's going to have to work quickly. We're down 9 laps to go. And once he gets past them, he still has to get to Nikolakaki just to crack at the top 5.
That looks good. He's very, very close now. Maybe for turn 3 then.
He's up into 1. Pretty swift chicane here, 1 and 2.
And full throttle down the straight. This is an opportunity, but Koundalis also with a good exit. Too good, in fact.
Yeah, just playing a real good game here, knowing he's got to focus on those corner exits. Now in front of them, that's Jim Matson. That's a lapped car. And the lapped cars in this series are actually usually very good. They're very polite. They try to make sure and pull out of the way when they see a battle coming along. But Jim actually gets a break, and coming along the strand, that's a good spot to pull out of the way. Allows them to play through and won't affect this battle.
Yeah, great stuff by the back marker. That's how we like it.
Coming down through the fountain one more time as we check ahead of them back to our leaders. It's back up to about 0.6 apart, but it is Sequeiro and Verbruggen that have closed up to within striking range. Kevin wanting to get himself a podium. I'll have to check our stat sheet to see how many he's actually gotten in this series. I'm pretty sure that there are some to his name. While I check that, let's see what happens out of 1 and 2 and towards 3.
This could be again a possibility for an overtake, but like Koundalis, this was a good exit, so there's no attack possible in turn 3, but it's far from over.
So a single podium to Kevin's name so far. Woo, that was close to the wall out of 4. Wagging the tail of the car out.
Yeah, I think I heard a scratching.
He seems to have gotten away with it. Once again, good exit coming on to the strand, but Leo gets an even better one. Behind them, don't forget about Nikola Kaki. If either of them have an issue, then he'll be there to try and see if he can snatch a spot away.
Or maybe two, let's see. I mean, at one point you have to commit yourself. If you want to be on the podium, you have to maybe make the dive.
Yeah, surely someone's going to have to be proactive here, at least of those two behind. if you're Sequeira, you say, no, be passive. Just let me be. 7 laps to go now. Coming across to complete the latest of them. 6 laps to go, actually, as they now cross the line down into the opening chicane. It's got to get a very good exit over the bridge. But easier said than done. One of the few places where you've got elevation change as they crest over it. Hisada, though, he looks to be in place. This is much closer than we saw before. He's got the slipstream as well. Koundalis will not defend the inside. He's going to leave it open. Confidence. Ooh, and he gives him space at the apex, too, but no pass made.
Yeah, there was the same issue as we have seen before in turn 3 for Koundalis, but it was not so bad with too much speed carried into the corner. But of course Hisada saw that, and if he would have tried to get to the inside, maybe that would also be fatal.
Yeah, I think that was the wise choice, especially under braking. You could tell he didn't have the overlap he needed. Wow, and we could actually hear them scrape that time, getting that close to the wall. That's incredible. And still, he's unable to do anything. This was not the place to lose position like he did for poor Togo Hisada. If he winds up losing the championship, this will be one of those moments that he looks back on.
Yeah, one mistake. Yeah, as we said before the race, could be a deciding race here tonight.
Here we go for Seb. This is for the lead. Nieva is going to defend. He knows he needs this win. Seb carries the speed around the outside, almost touching wheels once again. He's fully ahead of him, tries to chop him off, and he's got the top spot. Tixier, your new leader.
Yeah, normally this is a 50-50 crash situation. I talked before the race about this corner, where somebody cuts from the outside, but Seb did it perfectly. So Tixier is your new leader.
Fantastic stuff. Can Nieva strike back with only 5 laps left? 4.5 really left to go for him. Down into the fountain. Nieva still sticking with him at the very least. That'll lose him, I believe, 5 points. 60 points for a win, 55 for second place. Have to check to see how many you get for a 7th here, where Togo is. That's 44 points. So that's a big chunk of difference right there, because that means 11 points difference. 11-point swing as they sit right now, but if he can get that back, that's a 16-point swing.
Yeah, so every position counts also for Hisada. He has to make his move on Koundalis.
Wow, look at this now. Oh, Hisada got some wheel spin. I mean, he was practically pushing him through the corner. He was so close to him. He's still going to show himself in the mirrors, but I think he knew that one was unlikely to actually work. I think what's so amazing here is how late on the brakes they both are, because even as close as he's been, he can't seem to brake any later to get that car down to the inside.
And maybe also Hisada got the news that Tixier is leading, so this could help him again.
Yes, I mean, that's a small crumb of comfort, but Togo, no doubt, still wants to try and lessen it even more. If he finishes in 6th, it's 45 points. So yeah, I guess it's a 1-point difference if he moves up this position. But every point can count.
Yeah, you never know. Just remember, F1 2010.
Exactly. And then out of the fountain, Xavier Sanchez sitting in ninth. Haven't talked about him a whole lot. Usually he gets quite a bit of screen time because, oh, did he hit the wall there?
Hopefully not.
Close? I think it was just close. Looked like he got a little scared how near he was getting to that wall and maybe just spun up the tires a little. But he is chasing Marco Salgado, and I was trying to mention that Sanchez...
he saw the past.
Or at least almost.
At least in the standing.
He's coming around the outside of turn 4, and that's twice now we've had drivers play nice enough. They'll make it through. So one more spot. That's going to be a 10-point difference now between them. Fighting back. Kundala says not so fast. He's going to try and use the same trick, and it doesn't quite work. Oh, but look at this. He's got the run, though, using that outside line. Togo knows it. He tries to keep the inside covered off. No, he leaves the door open just enough. Arturis tries to take the apex away, but is not there in time. Nicely done by Togo.
Yeah, Arturis doesn't find his inner Vitaly Petrov here to defend again or retake the position to maybe fumble with Hisada's championship.
So Togo up to 6th now. They come out of the last 2 corners. 2 to go as they'll cross the line. These couple of drivers have already crossed it as well. Sequeiro, Verbruggen, Cocky. They've been in this order pretty much since almost the beginning of the race. And none have been able to find a way to switch that up. They just lapped the car of Thomas Tuba, so he is not a part of this. He just was trying to get out of the way of them. And each time it seems like Kevin is getting close to Verbruggen, but every time he does, either he's not been brave enough to try and make an attack or just doesn't have enough speed, because you can change the gearing even if there's no aerodynamic bits to change.
But also it's double duties for Kevin, because he has to maybe set up an overtake, but also have an eye in the mirror for the car behind.
Excellent point.
Very stressful.
Yeah, he can't really open himself up, so he's got to be smart. Good catch on that one. Nieva trying to take it back and looking down at a turn 12. Like I said, sometimes drivers will get desperate into there, and I think Jorge is showing his desperation. Oh, he clips the wall on the exit. How is the car? It drags along for a long time. Let's hope that it's okay, or at least good enough that he can limp it to the finish.
White flag, but this doesn't look too good. He doesn't get a corner like he wants to, but he maybe can finish it at least.
He's got 5 seconds down to Sequeira in 3rd. So he's got a buffer. You can see them in the background. So it would be this sort of corner that would be difficult. Yeah, I think the car is struggling. I think he got a little bit of damage.
Yeah, new wheel alignment for him, but that was the point. Like, if you take the risk in the last 2 corners to make an overtake happen, to stay in the slipstream, there's always this little slide which can take you, maybe out of the race totally. But with that, in the final lap, white flag is waving, so he can maybe, hang on to P2, which is great.
Car looks a little understeery in those right-handers, I think, since it's the left-hand side. And he almost looked like he clipped the wall again, coming down into the fountain section. Oh, he gains quite a bit here. It's all left-handers through this, but it's nothing but right-handers for the final few corners. So I don't think there's anything in it for that number 1 machine. It is the 8 of Seb Tixier coming around 12, now 13. Gets on the throttle. He is clear. Seb Tixier will deny Jorge Nieva the victory here today at Detroit.
But great driving from Nieva also. And the podium is clear now for Sequeiro in P3 for a long, long time for that.
0.2 of a second at the line between Leo and Kevin. That was tight down there. And Hisada stayed ahead of Kundelis, but that also was another 0.2 of a second at the line. What will we see for Jeff Saunders? This is down in the fountain. Kurt Clapper just in front of him. Kurt only up one position as he did qualify. Jason up ahead has already finished. Yeah, I think he's already finished, and he's going to get a top 10 with our hardest charger with ease. 17 positions gained. Kevin Parrish, meanwhile, down in 13th, up 13 in 26. Nicely done by the 10 car, avoiding the action. Are we going to go side by side? Oh, Saunders, unfortunately, not able to make the pass stick, although he thought about it. And that's pretty much going to be it for our field on this one, as last cars are crossing the line. The rest are a lap down or more. Guess that takes us to our results, as Seb Tixier is your winner. Jorge Nieva not able to get maximum points, but he is still going to cut down slightly on Nicola Kaki by about 10 points after that. We'll see where it stands, as we'll check the points to see if that's been updated before we close. But Leo Sequeira will round out your podium, and Kevin Verbruggen was off it by the smallest of margins in fourth, Nicola Kaki in fifth, and then Togo Hisada only recovering to sixth place after a critical mistake. Arturas Kundelis was P7, then Marco Salgado 8th, and Xavier Sanchez 9th. And as I mentioned before, Jason Clapper rounds out our top 10.
In P11, Roberto Pangrazzi. P12 goes to Robert Plumley. P13 to Kevin Parrish. We have seen him at the line with Kurt Clapper, of course, with Jeff Saunders in P15 fighting there. You see the 0.3 of a difference. Tobias Hernvi in P16s, and then we are going one lap down to Thomas Willershausen, and in P17. P18s goes to Andreas Bruno, 6 laps down, so these are maybe the crash cars from the opening stage. Thomas Tuba in P19, and the 20th place goes to Mats Linden.
Yeah, I think these are drivers that took repairs and maybe a few got back out. Jim Matson, 21st, Sandeep Banerjee in at 22nd, and then Raul Guardia in at 23rd. Glad to see him get back out there. Maudsley in 24th, but from here, looks like these are the true DNFs. Jordan, Spickett, Rossi, Ho, Olsen, and Tolman. Looks like we've got Seb ready to talk to us already, hear what he thinks about having to wait patiently for that pass to come. Seb, congratulations. When you made the pass, you kind of had to go the hard way, go around the outside. Were you waiting for the right time, or was that kind of this is the only time I got close kind of situation?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, because VR and stuff. So you're talking about the pass on Jorge?
Yes.
Yeah, so every time I was catching on him, then I was doing a small mistake. So it was like the range, the gap was between like 0.5 and 1 second. And but before overtaking him, I saw that he was a bit slower on turn 1. So I just managed to get a good turn 1, and then so I can set up turn 2. And just at this moment, there was also a back marker. So I thought, okay, so going to be more complicated for him to defend. And so I was like, I was ready like to jump inside if he wanted to get the racing line, or try to brake super late. Like I like to do on the outside, and I know Jorge is a very clean driver, so I know that he's not going to like send it and go wide and keep some space for me.
That he did. It was a great fight out there. I'm sure you're at least aware that Jorge is fighting for the championship with Togo. Was there any guilt in your mind that you're taking 5 points away from him, or was there no guilt at all?
Not at all.
I get it. It's you're always a racer. You always want to win.
Each victory must be deserved.
Exactly. You've taken another victory now. In fact, your first since Misano. Are you going to be back for Donington and try to steal more points away come P1 there?
Of course.
All right. Well, we'll look out for you over at the UK track, and congratulations. It was a great race today.
I want to give a big shout out to Nicola Cocci. Thank you, mate. And Gary Ho.
Great stuff there from Seb Tixier, our winner here today, while Sebastian has caught up with Jorge Nieva. I don't know how Sebastian's Spanish is, but Jorge's English is honestly pretty good.
Bad. Congratulations, Jorge. How does it feel to take P2 even with a broken suspension?
Thank you. It was really hard to finish this race, but my suspension was okay. I think I had a minor crash with a wall, but the car was fine all the race. It was just a mistake by my side.
Okay, but we have seen it and we felt like, okay, maybe he is even in more trouble because, turn 1 and turn 2 looked tricky then with your suspension. But also the whole race, it was a big fight, and I think you had the time of your life here in Detroit.
Yeah, it was fun. First trying to keep Togo behind, then I think he made a little mistake and Seb catch me, and well, he did it very, very well. He managed to overtake Togo and me. Congratulations to him. He deserved the win, of course.
Yeah, you did a great battle with him, and also, as he said before, you're a clean driver, you're a fair driver, and that's what racing has to look like, I think.
Yeah, I think all of us in this series are very clean. Sometimes we all make mistakes. Today I almost killed Togo because I put first gear and he was very near, but it's all mistakes. We are all very clean racers here, I think.
Yes, and also very passionate racers to drive in these cars. How was it on the track with the bumpiness of the track? Was that a problem?
Well, no, not for me. I've been using the same setup for all the season with the same suspension. Here I thought about softening the suspension a bit, but in the end I'm used to that setup, so I only changed the gear ratios and it worked sort of here too.
Yeah, with the little mistake of Hisada and your P2, it looks better for you in the championship. So yeah, good luck for next round in Donington. And yeah, anyone you want to make a shout out to?
Thank you for the wishing me good luck. I want to thank you all guys and GSRC and all the community. It's very nice racing here.
Thank you, Jorge.
Thank you, guys.
Second place finisher Jorge Nieva here today at Detroit, and I did get a little update that this is not official. I don't have the exact numbers, but I'm being told Jorge needs somewhere around 25 to 30 more points than Togo next week to beat him in the championship. So yeah, that's going to be very difficult. He essentially needs Togo to have a very bad day and to either win or at least finish on the podium to try and take the championship. We'll see if he can do it. He's been working hard towards this all season long. But we're going to close out with a big thank you to the Grand Prix Legends community for bringing us back once again. And also a thank you to the team today with Daniel, Seb, Christian, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, and our merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Next race, as was mentioned, is Donington. That'll be Saturday, August 31st at 9:30 a.m. Eastern to bring us to the end of the season. Be sure to check out our other broadcasts listed here, because up next, it is the IMSA Vintage Series, and that'll be at Suzuka at 1 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, though, race clean, race hard, we'll see you on the track.